Alright, so we've done this before, this whole ripping process, but what I want to do is show you some things that you should look at as far as the letters are concerned, because the letters are kind of thin in some places, so we have to kind of be mindful about that. Another thing we should discuss is the work. Remember, a 3D printer has like two really major axes that move a lot. The z-axis up and down doesn't move a whole lot, it just moves up one little tiny decimeter every so often just to add a new layer. But the X and Y move a lot. Now, on the 3D printers that I build, the Y is a little heavier because it's using a mains current to heat up this platter, and the platter weighs a little bit, where the X-axis is very lightweight. So what we want to think about is that, let's say this is the X-axis right here. Would it be better to have a carriage that's very lightweight going back and forth, or a very heavy brick going back and forth? Which is less work? And I would say, well, the X-axis going back and forth, being lightweight, doesn't do a whole lot of work in correlation to the Y-axis. So always kind of line up your pieces so that the X-axis is doing most of the work, is what I'm trying to say. So in this case, I like these longer pieces to go this way. Okay, so I don't need any material for generation of support. A couple of these are left over from last video. And yep, that's good. 230 for the temperature is good. And over here, extruder, I do want to lower this down to 0.45. And I might even have to go lower than that. Okay, so let's export that. Now this could take a second because really the letters have a lot of triangles. Okay, so for as many polygons there are, it will take a while to do. And then we can look at the process within print run to see if it captured all the little details of the actual text, even the thin spots. Now, some things that you can do to speed up the process is to eliminate as many triangles as possible. To do that, you could bring it back into Blender as a still file. Let's say you had a repaired still file. While that's processing, I'll talk about this. I could take and import the still of the initials. This is the cleaned up one. Drag it down, and then I can use decimate. And decimate will allow it to reduce the number of polygons. So I can decimate this down, but the minute I see some degeneration occur, so I'm just going to click this, click it, click it, click it, until I start seeing some degeneration happen. And degeneration happens when you'll see that these blend. That's not too bad, actually. So look at the polygon count just soaring down. Okay, so I don't want to get greedy. That's pretty good, and I can hit apply, and then I'll export that as initials low res. LR is what I put there. And just make sure when you do that, if you can't, make sure you go in here and repair that, because a lot of times when you remove a lot of triangles from something, it could cause holes. So let's open, and here's my low res one, and it looks perfect. Not much as far as automatic repair is concerned, but still. Export, still, and I can call that low res. Now let's hop back over to Ubuntu camera. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sure some nerd out there is going to school me in the fine art of saying Ubuntu, just like they always Linux and Arduino. It's so funny. Alright, here we go. It looks like the high res worked, but I just wanted to show you the process of cleaning up and decimating something down so it rips a little faster. You'll see a significant difference once you export that other still. But for right now, I'm just going to keep the high res. And I'm going to go into the printer interface. In this case, I got 3 printers. I'm going to go to the newest one. And let's load that file. Okay, double click on it, and then you can page through this. Just hold shift and make sure everything is filling correctly. Make sure you're getting all the letters. If you look at the W here, it's very thin. It's not having any kind of fill between these 2 lines right here. Okay, so if you see that, that's a big red flag. You could repair it, and all you do is you just go back to slicer and you would lower that down. Okay, so in this case you would lower this number down to 0.35, and I know that's a pretty big jump, but do it. Even though you have a 0.5 head, it'll actually work out correctly. Anything going past that much, let's say you have to go to 0.25, don't do that. That's a little bit too hard, and you'll see some bad stuff occur because of the going down too low. So 0.5 can reduce all the way down to 0.35. And same could be said if you have a 0.35 head on your 3D printer. You can go down to like 0.25. I wouldn't go any lower than that. So keep it within some kind of ratio. I'm not going to edit any of this out, just fast forward it a little bit. I don't do editing. That's what the little fast forward thing's for. Alright, now let's go look at that in the 3D printer, see how that looks like. So jump back over to my printer, load the file. Double click on it, and you can see clearly the W is now being filled in and is solid wall. So that is good. Alright, I'm going to print this and we'll take a look at it. What I would highly suggest is there is no real need for a fan on this because it's not standing up. Anytime an object is standing up, a fan should be probably put on it with the amount of detail. But really this is all flat 2D, 3D type of labor. So you should probably just let it ride and print it out. Okay, and then come back in the next video. We'll kind of look at things you might need, maybe not need, or how the outcome looked.